Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and 'twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring. Nothing. No action. Dullsville. Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margo D. Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend.
We are dorking out about 1960s The Apartment. I'm very excited about this. It stars Jack Lemmon and Shirley MacLaine. Oh my God! For some reason in the cast, I didn't write down Shirley MacLaine.
What?
I have a million notes about Shirley MacLaine in here, so I just need to scroll down a little bit. But I have a whole list of like everybody who's in it, and for some reason, I don't have Shirley MacLaine listed here. Shame on me. Jack Lemmon, Shirley MacLaine, Fred MacMurray, Ray Walston, and Jack Crushen, I believe is how you pronounce it, who plays the doctor next door. And this movie is written and directed by Billy Wilder. It was his follow-up to Some Like It Hot. I'm pretty sure you didn't see this in the theater, Margo, because it came out in 1960. So when did you first see The Apartment?
I think it was a TCM thing.
Yeah.
Where they have like it's hosted and I think it was like a Billy Wilder month, and it's always one of those movies that people say it's like one of the most romantic and sweet and sad. And anyway, so I remember that, but I haven't seen it in a little while. And that's why I wanted to do it around New Year's Eve, because I remember it had a New Year's Eve kind of theme to it.
It absolutely does. It takes place from like Christmas Eve to New Year's, I guess. It's like right in there. So it is a holiday movie. I think it falls into that category. I think the first time I saw it, I must have seen it in a film class. Like I took, film classes in college, and I think that's where I first saw it. I definitely had already seen Some Like It Hot and saw it in film and thought it was so great. Like super loved it. And then, yeah, it pops up on TCM. Well, every year around this time. So I watch it often, I watch it every couple of years, but it had definitely been a couple of years. And I told you this time I rented it, and I don't know why I do this. I don't know why I don't just spend the extra bucks and buy it, especially when I know I love it. And I watched it again, and I just loved it even more than I have in the past, and then I kick myself for not just buying it. So now I'm going to buy it. I think it's going to be a regular thing that I watch between Christmas and New Year's, because I fucking love this movie.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you insisted on it.
Yes. Well, thank you.
Because I was like, oh, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we should do like a list of New Year's Eve movies, blah, blah, blah. And you were like, nah. And I'm like, oh,
I'm not going through that trouble.
Yeah, and then I watched
this and the movie we did a couple of weeks ago, Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd.
Oh, Trading Places.
Yeah, that's the only New Year's Eve movie I really care. Or I guess When Harry Met Sally, we already did that.
Yeah, we already did that one. So I'm glad that you stuck to your guns on this one, and I rewatched it because I loved it even more this time. Yeah, something about it really really clicks for me. Billy Wilder had like such a fucking run of movies, because he did this one, but he did Some Like It Hot, which everybody knows and is like one of the like top comedies of all time. But he also did Sunset Boulevard. He did Double Indemnity, Witness for the Prosecution, and Sabrina. Those movies are all fucking dope.
Yeah,
he's the shit, man.
That's what they used to say.
That's the official.
Wilder.
He's fucking dope.
Movies are fucking dope.
They're fucking dope, y'all.
He had a streak going, and I think this is the last movie. Spoiler, won for best Oscar, in black and white.
Yeah,
like that was the last year that they did that, and I was like, did it win any awards? It was nominated for everything. It won a ton of awards, and rightfully so. It's such an original story, and it totally holds up. The office setting, everything, it just completely, the way people talk to each other, it just all completely holds up so well, even though it's like 60 years ago.
Yeah, I fucking love it so much. Jack Lemmon plays this man named C.C. Bud Baxter, and we see him first like in the office, and I wrote it down. He works for Consolidated Life, and he works in Section W, desk number 861 on the 19th floor in New York. And I mean, there's just hundreds of them. Like, he's just a kind of a faceless drone in this company, but he's on his way up. And the reason he's on his way up is because he is loaning out his apartment to his married superiors so that they can have their affairs without, their wives finding out. And so he spends a lot of time like hanging around in front of his own apartment. He can't go in because the bosses are in there with their lady friends. And he's doing it because he's hoping that it'll like move him up in the company, and it does. Spoilers.
It does work
for the apartment. Yeah. And he also has a crush on Shirley MacLaine, and we all do in this movie. She's so fucking adorable. Everybody drink. Who runs the elevator? She's an elevator girl, which apparently was a thing.
Can you imagine that job?
Just sitting in the elevator all day? Standing in the elevator all day.
And it's always crowded, and when we're talking about it, it's in the middle of COVID. Like all those desks, everybody's so close together. I'm like, oh my God, it's just petri dish.
Yeah, there's a scene, their office party scene, their holiday party scene.
I love the office party scene.
Yeah, it's fucking bananas, and I think Mad Men owes so much to the apartment, like so much of the look and the way they talk. Well, I mean, I guess it's the time period too, but boy, it reminded me a lot of Mad Men. But that office party scene, I was like, oh my God, you're all going to get COVID.
But they're all like having so much fun.
They are. They're going crazy.
And I've been to parties like that where people are making out everywhere and booze is everywhere. People trying to get an office to themselves. And people lose their damn minds at the office parties.
Yeah, the good old days.
Yeah.
I'm like, this doesn't happen
Before
in my holiday.
Sexual harassment suits and stuff like that.
True. I'm like, this stuff doesn't happen at my holiday parties. Or maybe it used to and I just didn't know.
Yeah.
What else was I gonna... Oh, so they're all the bigwigs are using his apartment. His very nice neighbors, the doctor, played by Jack Cushion, and his wife, they think Jack Lemmon's character is like a ladies' man, that he's got like a different girl every night. And it's the opposite. Like, he's like such a lonely man who, I mean, the minute all of these people leave his apartment, like he's eating a TV dinner and he's watching TV and he's really lonely. And they're such assholes about it too.
Oh, they just drop in with no notice. And Ray Walston, we should say, he's one of them. He's great. He's always so good. But like all these guys, they bring these women over, and this is like, I can't help it, but I think like, he must have to do laundry all the time.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, ew, like he has to go sleep in that bed.
Yeah, like he doesn't have a washer dryer in that apartment. He's got to take it out somewhere. And these guys just leave at like 11 midnight, and leave him to deal with it. And they drink all his booze and they eat all his food. And he does it because he's meek. And he does it because he thinks like, well, if I just put in this time, they'll give me the promotion. And it does get him the promotion. But then the boss wants to find out, Fred MacMurray, how come these guys like you so much? And he figures out it's because of his apartment. And he said, well, I'd like to use your apartment. And so Jack Lemmon, he gives him tickets to the Music Man, which how much I would have loved to have seen that. I was like, go in there. So what if she doesn't show up? But it turns out Shirley MacLaine is having a fling with Fred MacMurray, who's married. And they had a fling over the summer, and then it fizzled out. And he's trying to woo her back. And Jack Lemmon, she stands him up so he doesn't go to the theater. He already had a cold. He was already having a bad day as it was.
Poor Jack Lemmon.
I feel bad for him. And then he finds out at the office Christmas party because she opened up her compact mirror, which is cracked. And he realizes she's the one that he was with. And he's just totally bummed out. And he's going to have a crappy Christmas. And it's going to be a bummer. And then you see, I mean, Fred MacMurray's a jerk in this movie. But he's so awful to her.
He's such a dick to her.
He's such a dick. He's just like, he's breaking up with her,
Yeah.
and he's told her not to cry, and he's such a sociopath.
Well, the thing is,
like,
he's not even really breaking up with her. He just wants her to keep sleeping with him, but he's not going to leave his wife. Like, he's constantly dangling, like a lot of married dudes back in the day did. I mean, I'm sure maybe they still do. I don't know. I'm going to leave my wife. I'm going to leave my wife for you. I'm going to leave my wife for you. And, you know, she's hopeful. Like, that's what she wants too. Kind of like how Jack Lemmon is hoping all of this is going to get him a promotion. She's kind of hoping that her affair is going to get her kind of promoted from elevator girl to businessman's wife. And it's not working out. Like, he's not really going to leave his wife, and she finds out at the holiday party that she's one of many women around the office that he has been sleeping with, that he says he's going to leave his wife for and never does. So they get into it at Jack Lemmon's apartment, and he leaves. He's such a dick. She gets him a gift, and he's like, I didn't get you a gift. Here's $100. Buy yourself something nice. Makes her feel like a whore, basically, because he's a fucking asshole.
Right.
And she's so despondent that she takes a bunch of sleeping pills, and Jack Lemmon comes home and finds her almost dead.
And he has to, and he picks up a woman at a bar.
The woman is hilarious.
Oh, they're hilarious. They are so funny together.
They are so funny together. I love the way they dance together.
Oh, I loved it. And the hat, the bowler hat that he had. I mean, it's just, Jack Lemmon is so wonderful in this movie. He's so funny, and he's so sad. He's such like, he does everything an actor could do.
Yeah.
He comes home.
I love Jack Lemmon. I always love Jack Lemmon. Don't you always love Jack Lemmon? Always.
That's why I can't watch, what's that movie with Alec Baldwin?
Oh, Glengarry Glen Ross.
I can't watch it because they're mean to Jack Lemmon.
It's the saddest.
I can't fucking take it.
It's the saddest fucking performance ever.
Yes.
It's like, it is absolutely heartbreaking. And Jack Lemmon, he's so fucking good in that movie. He's good in everything. Jack Lemmon's always good. And anytime you want to talk about the original Odd Couple movie, I'm fucking down. It is one of my favorite comedies. It makes me laugh stupid hard every time I watch it.
Or if you ever want to talk about the China Syndrome, because I super love that movie, and he's fantastic in it.
I've never seen it.
What?
I've never seen it.
Okay.
Let's write
it on the list.
All right. I'm writing it down right now. I got my little dry erase board here. China Syndrome. Okay. Please continue.
Yes. So he's adorable in everything. He takes home this woman, and she's got like her husband's in Cuba.
He's in jail or something, right? Yeah, Cuba in jail.
He takes her up to his apartment. He's like, all right, let's get going. I'm a real sex pot, you know? It's like, okay, cool. She's into it. And that's when he opens the bedroom door, and that's where he finds Shirley MacLaine. She's sleeping on the bed because she took the sleeping pills. He can't wake her up, can't revive her. So he goes next door to Dr. Dreyfus. And if you need any help with the Yiddish expressions, I'm your gal. They use a lot of them here. I know what he's talking about. But he comes over and revives her. And I mean, they slap the crap out of her.
Yeah.
And make her walk at night, and they make her vomit so that the pills are out of her. And then Jack Lemmon takes care of her for a couple of days because she really shouldn't be. Now, I don't know why he doesn't let her just call her sister, because she's staying with her sister and brother-in-law.
Yeah.
But they were.
Yeah, there's a whole thing about, like, he's also trying to protect Fred MacMurray from the repercussions of his actions. So he is afraid that she's going to call her sister and say everything, tell her everything that happened, and somehow that's going to impact Fred MacMurray. So I think that's why. Yeah, it's like, well, for all he knows, she's already told her sister that she's doing this.
Right.
You know, but whatever. You got to let some shit slide.
Let some shit slide. So what happens is that they start becoming close. They play gin rummy together. They get to know one another. Cute. And it's so cute. She's in his little flannel robe, and they're becoming friendly. And she found out that Fred MacMurray was cheating on her because of his secretary,
Mm-hmm.
who tells her at the party, and because she used to be one of his,
Yeah,
chippies on the side.
you know what? At first, like, she's an interesting character because at first you're like, fucking busybody, right? Like, just mind your fucking business. Shut up. But then, yeah, she tells her what's up, and I do love. She says like, I'm always happy to help out a girl in uniform, like 'cause she's wearing her like elevator, uniform, elevator girl uniform. But when confronted by Fred MacMurray, and he's like, you're fired. Basically, I'm getting rid of you for this. She says like how hurtful it's been that he parades all of his like the younger models of her in
Right.
front of her, and I felt so bad for her in that scene.
Yeah.
And then she calls his wife,
and she said, "Okay, you want to meet for lunch?" And she tells her what's going on.
Yeah. But I love that she's like, I had to make a personal call, and she gives him a fucking dime on the way out. Like, yeah. Fucking prick. He deserves it.
So he does deserve it, and he gets kicked out by his wife.
Yes.
And so he's now he's going to be a free man, but it's New Year's Eve, and Shirley MacLaine is with this douchebag. And what happens in between is that her brother-in-law comes over to the house.
He's so tough. He's wearing a bow tie.
Yes, it's just he's a taxi driver. I guess they're in Brooklyn. They never really tell you.
Yeah.
And he's very protective of his sister-in-law, and he punches out Jack Lemmon because he thinks he's been fresh with her.
Yes.
And he gets her out of there. And so the next thing we get is New Year's Eve, and she's with Fred MacMurray at a ridiculous, New Year's Eve party in Greenwich Village, New York.
Even though he treated her like shit and gave her money and made her feel like a whore and and didn't come see her while she was, recovering from her suicide attempt, she still like gives him one more shot.
Well, he says he's getting divorced.
Yeah.
So she thinks maybe it is, maybe it's really going to happen now. And but when in the middle of it, we also heard from Jack Lemmon in a previous scene that he was married before, and she left him for his best friend.
Right.
And he had a gun, and he shot his knee.
Yeah.
And but that was like, he was so upset he shot his knee. And Shirley MacLaine realizes, like, she leaves the New Year's Eve party. She realizes she's in love with Jack Lemmon.
I love that
who
scene.
Wouldn't be?
I love it's such a great scene because the scene opens with her, like, she's at this crowded New Year's Eve party once again. I was like, you're all gonna get COVID, and she looks so beautiful even when she's like overdosing on sleeping pills. She looks super beautiful, by the way. And she's there at the party and everyone's celebrating and she's looking kind of sad. And Fred MacMurray's there and he's like drinking his drink and being a prick. And that's when he tells her Jack Lemmon quit. Like, he wouldn't let her. He didn't want Fred MacMurray coming back to his apartment anymore, and he certainly couldn't come with Shirley MacLaine, and he quit his job. And as she's sitting there and the lights go down and they're singing because it's New Year's, and her face just changes. It's like she realizes, oh, I'm actually not in love with Fred MacMurray anymore. Like, right. And it's just like how her face changes. I was like, I just love it so much. And then like when the lights come up, she's like gone. It's like the fucking best. And he's like, where'd she go? Yeah. And then we get the, running through the streets of New York on New Year's Eve.
Montage.
Yeah.
And she's running up, spoiler, she's running up to his apartment and she hears a popping sound. And you're scared because he has a gun in the apartment. He was really upset. He just quit his job today. And she kind of busts down the door and he opens it and he's got a bottle of champagne. And he's like, oh, hey. And they're going to spend the New Year's Eve together. And it's very romantic. And it's your heart just kind of bursts. It's so sweet.
It's so sweet. And it ends with, a line that I think is just as great as nobody's perfect, with shut up and deal. And it's so sweet. And there's just like a million things in this movie that I fucking love. Besides the performances, which are great. There's just like these little things, like Shirley MacLaine cuts her hair. Or, well, we don't see her cut her hair. We just hear that she's cut her hair, and that's why she has this very short haircut. And she agrees to have a drink with Fred MacMurray early in the film. And he's like, I see you cut your hair. And she's like, yeah, I did. And he's like, I like it long. And she's like, I know. Like, it's just such a thing that, like, women do after breakups. Like, we cut our hair. We totally do. I don't, like, new us, I guess. Like, new us, we've moved on. You know, there's just, like, little things like that. Or, poor Jack Lemmon trying to, like, rearrange everyone else's schedules so that he can go home because he has a cold.
And I love just the women that are at the phone operators. You know, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. There's a party on 19th floor.
Let's get up there.
And they run up there, and then people are on the desks, like, kicking. And I'm just like, there's so much fun and joy in this movie.
Yeah.
You know, equal parts. There's sad parts too, and they're very quiet. But it's always alive. Like, there's no boring parts to this movie. Everything makes sense. Everything belongs, and the art direction is incredible. In Jack Lemmon's apartment, I don't know if you saw this. I saw in the trivia that he has a couple of Tiffany lamps that at the time were considered tchotchkes. Like, oh yeah, you can get that at an antique store. They'd be worth like 30, 40 grand each.
Of course. Yeah.
You know. But at that apartment, 64th Street, my God, are you kidding? Like, right by the park? It's incredible what he's got going.
Yeah.
So I can understand, but I can't help but think of the cooties involved, like having people sleeping in my apartment.
Yeah, no, I would not want that.
No.
It's yucky. I love the neighbors, Dr. Dreyfus and his wife. Like,
yes.
I would like to have them as neighbors very much. Like, I like that they form a friendship. I love the scene where he comes over at the end and borrows some ice, and
yes,
he invites him to the party, and he, you know, Jack Lemmon's packing up his apartment. He feels like he just can't stay there anymore. It just reminds him of everything. So he's like packing it up, and, you know, and the doctor's like, you know, turns down any offer of money for his help, and is like, I did this as your neighbor, not as a doctor. And I just think it's really sweet. And I love his wife too, where she comes over and brings food to Shirley MacLaine and is like, you know, she says, like, you're gonna throw it all away on some good time Charlie. Like, like, you know, like, that's real. I just love that scene. I love the woman at the bar. I think she's hilarious. I love the way they dance together, cheek to cheek, but like their arms aren't touching. Like, they're not like dance. I don't know. They're just like have their faces together and they're kind of just moving back and forth. I don't know. Very drunk people, I guess. I
like the landlady that the landlord, she's like, this is not some honky tonky. Always makes me laugh. Like, maybe it was honky tonky at first.
Yeah, maybe. And then Fred MacMurray, who, you know, would go on to what he used to do, like My Three Sons or whatever. Like, he was like
My Three Sons and a bunch of Disney movies.
Yeah, all these Disney movies. And I think, you know, we forget, like, Fred MacMurray, he could play a prick too. He's a prick in this one. You know, he's not exactly a stand-up citizen in Double Indemnity. And he is really good in this part of playing this kind of character. And the way he talks to her just makes me so angry. I'm like, don't you talk to her like that.
But you know, he's a sociopath. I mean, you see him at home with his sons and he seems perfectly okay there, but he can lie to them. He lies to everybody.
Yeah. And
to
just
get away with it. Yeah.
His like attempts to win her back during the first time we see them having drinks, and he's like, you don't know how hard it is for me to stand next to you in the elevator. It's like, fuck off, asshole. Like, you're the married one.
Yeah.
You're the one that's made this situation difficult, not her. You, like, it's fucking gaslighter.
And he's going to use her until he's bored.
Yeah. And then he'll move on. He's a prick.
Then he'll move on. Yeah.
I hate him. I don't hate Fred MacMurray. That character's such a dick.
I've always heard he was cheap. He's like one of those people that's notoriously cheap. Like
Oh,
he would
Fred
bring,
MacMurray?
yeah.
Yeah.
So Billy Wilder said there's a scene where Fred MacMurray flips a quarter to the shoe shine guy,
Yeah.
and he couldn't flip it, and so uh, Billy Wilder said, "Well, why don't you try 50-cent piece?" He'd be like, "I can never do that. I would never tip that much," and he just like couldn't do this. Like, wow.
Fred MacMurray apparently owned like a whole bunch of land in Northern California.
Really?
And I think it was after he passed away, like his widow or his family sold that land to the Gallo Winery.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was coincidentally reading about Fred MacMurray because I had just watched, well, when we get to what else we're dorking out about, I'm going to
Yeah.
talk about this other movie I was watching with Fred MacMurray, and I went down a whole rabbit hole about Fred MacMurray. So there you go. He probably could afford that land because he's so cheap.
You know, yeah, he supposedly like brought a bagged lunch every day, and he would take stuff home and just. But you know, some people are good with money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'll have it when they need it.
Yeah. Good for him.
Yeah.
That's fine.
He has a great voice.
He does. I agree. Do you ever play gin rummy?
Mm-mm.
Me neither. I want to learn how to play now, though.
My parents play poker, and
Oh.
my mom like knew a few card games, but I didn't inherit that.
My husband and I like to sometimes in the pre-COVID times, we like to go to breweries and do like flights, like taste all the different beer, and we would play cards. And sometimes we play like canasta or what's the one with the little pegs on the board? I forget. Anyway, some card game that I totally can't remember, and everyone's yelling at their podcasting streaming device right now, going, "It's blah blah blah, you idiot!" Anyway, yeah, I love to play cards. I don't know why I don't know how to play gin rummy. See, I need to learn. Oh, I love this movie. I'm like, what else?
Yeah, I'm trying to think what else. I like the New York setting.
Yeah.
I love like I said, the art direction. The music's really good. It's got a lot of feels. It gives you the feels.
The Jack Lemmon performance is just fucking everything in this because it's so funny and it's so sad at the same time. And just that the scene you mentioned it earlier where he had found this compact in his apartment and he gives it to Fred MacMurray like, "Hey, your lady friend, he doesn't know who it is, left her compact here. It's got a broken mirror." And he gives it to Fred MacMurray, and then later at the holiday party, he sees that it's Shirley MacLaine's. And like the look on his face when he sees that it's her is so sad. It's so sad. And then
but he's not judging her.
No,
he's not like
not at
all.
He's
not judging her. He's just heartbroken. I mean, because he really loves her. He really cares for her, and he knows what a creep his boss is.
Yeah.
That's where it's coming from. And I think, you know, especially for that time, it would be easy for him to kind of slut shame her.
Yes.
And that's not what he's doing.
Yeah. It's such a tough scene to play in so many ways. And this movie is like such a balancing act between what's funny and what's sad. And it just does it so well. And I think like they could remake this movie now. And I just don't know if they could get it right.
Yeah.
Because the tone it's just hard to do. Tip of the bowler hat to this movie. Do you think?
I love that bowler hat.
Me too. Do you think Bud and Fran are still together?
Yes.
Me too. I think
absolutely.
Do you think they still live in that apartment?
No, I don't.
Nah, they had kids.
Yeah.
They had to move. But they still talk to the doctor.
No, they're friends with everybody.
Yeah. Because they're awesome.
Maybe they converted to Judaism.
I like where this is going.
Yeah.
I love that idea. And they send Fred MacMurray a fruitcake every year.
My mom made fruitcakes. That always makes me smile.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm like, what else? Oh, this was Fred MacMurray's second movie with Billy Wilder. because he had done Double Indemnity in 44. And you already mentioned it was nominated for like a gazillion awards, 10, and it won Best Picture, which I think is pretty crazy that this kind of movie would win Best Picture. It seems almost too good to win Best Picture. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, totally makes sense, because that's, yeah. The Best Picture Oscar is usually kind of a wild card.
Yeah, it's like, it's always like, yeah, I'm sure we'll all be talking about Green Book 10 years from now, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like, it's
Driving Miss Daisy.
Yeah. Crash,
Crash. Yeah, there's a lot of them. Yeah.
It's actually probably the best movie. Actually, there's some other really good movies that came out this year. We're going to get to that in a minute. But it won Best Picture, Best Director, Screenplay, obviously, Art Direction, Editing. I can't believe Jack Lemmon didn't win, but Burt Lancaster was nominated for something that year, and I'm sure it was like his turn to win.
Yeah.
But they're both so good in this movie.
We forgot to mention there's the Marilyn Monroe lookalike who talks like her. And Billy Wilder apparently thought Marilyn Monroe was a huge pain in the ass.
Oh.
On Some Like It Hot.
Interesting.
And another movie that they did. So that's why he did that.
That's funny. I did read that she was disappointed that she wasn't offered Shirley MacLaine's part, but I don't know, maybe she would have been good in it, but I think Shirley MacLaine is so good in this.
She has a sprightliness about her.
Yes.
Almost like elfin. Like, she's just this energy that comes from her. The second you see her, you're just like, oh my God, this woman is so adorable.
Everybody drink. Yeah, everybody drink. And she's fucking smart. She's making a shitty romantic choice at first, but who hasn't, by the way? But I love, there's a creep on the elevator, like slaps her ass or something when he gets off. And she tells him, like, one of these days I'm going to close the door on your hand. And then she like pulls her arm up into their sleeve and like dangles it like, she's going to cut off his. I just like the way she talks to some of these creeps. I wish she talked to Fred MacMurray like that more often. Because fuck him.
Yeah. But because fuck him.
Sorry, Fred MacMurray. It's not your fault.
Well, he's going to get soaked in that divorce, so.
Totally.
He'll get his.
He totally will. Do you want to hear about some of the other movies that came out in 1960?
Yes, of course.
Okay. This is fascinating to me because the movie that was number one at the box office made $11 million.
Isn't that adorable?
It's adorable. If a movie makes $11 million now opening weekend, people are like, what a bomb. It's so crazy. So number 10 was a movie called From the Terrace.
I don't know it.
I don't either. I don't think we're going to recognize some of these. Number 9, Ocean's 11.
Which isn't great.
Yeah. The remake is really
so much
good.
Better. Yeah.
Really good. And the original is like, it's fun to look at, I guess.
It gets so boring, though.
It's super boring. So number 8 was The Apartment.
Yes.
Number 7, Butterfield 8.
Yeah, that's Liz Taylor as a prostitute.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
It's okay. She almost died that year, and people think she basically got the Oscar because she admits that. Like, yeah, I didn't croak, so that's why they got me one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah, I like Liz Taylor.
You didn't die. Here's your award. Yay! Another movie called The World of Susie Wong.
Don't know it.
Don't know it. Number 5, The Alamo.
Nope.
Number 4, Swiss Family Robinson.
Nah.
I know what it is. I've never seen it.
There was a TV series when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah. Number 3, Exodus.
Nope.
Number 2, Psycho.
Yes.
I've never heard of it. No. That's a really good movie. And when I was looking at the Oscars, Anthony Perkins wasn't even nominated.
Which is shocking to me. He's so good. We did this for Book versus Movie. And my thing also with that movie, I forget how hot Anthony Hopkins was when he was young. He's sexy.
Anthony Perkins.
Who did I say?
Anthony Hopkins.
Whatever.
Anthony Hopkins might have been hot too. I don't know.
Not as tall, though. I like the tall.
No, but Anthony Perkins was hot, and
He was super hot.
Psycho's, dude, duh, it's awesome. Like,
Yeah.
spoilers, everybody, Psycho's really good. I'm sure you listened to this show for the hot takes like that. And then the number one movie was Spartacus.
Spartacus is fun.
Yeah, I remember they did a re-release of it in the 90s, and it played at my theater, and I just remember being like, to me it was a trip. The movie had an intermission, and nobody at the theater knew how to deal with that because we'd never had a movie that had an intermission before. We were like, what? It's a good movie, but there's a reason it has an intermission. It's fucking long as shit.
It's cheesy too.
It's super cheesy.
But it's fun.
And I think most people now, when they think of Spartacus, they probably just think of how it's Christian's favorite movie and Clueless.
So do you want to hear about some of the top songs of 1960? This was so much fun to look up.
Yes, we've never done a 1960s movie. This might be the oldest movie we've done. So
so we got to do this more often.
Yeah.
It's really fun. Chubby Checker, The Twist.
I love that song. I'm going to say I love all these songs probably, but that's a good one.
Elvis Presley, It's Now or Never.
Good.
The Shirelles, Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow?
That's a good song. That's a good one too.
Bobby Darin, Mac the Knife.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sam Cooke, Twistin' the Night Away.
Fucking love Sam Cooke.
Fucking A.
There's a documentary on Netflix about him that I haven't watched yet, but it's been on my list for a while.
Is it about his murder or more about him?
I think it's more about him.
And then the last one is Etta James, At Last.
Classic
song.
I thought that's a really good list.
Yeah, I was excited.
Yeah. What else are you dorking out about?
So I finally jumped on the Criterion train, which I don't know why it took me so long to get here.
I love the Criterion channel.
It is so worth the money.
It is.
They really they're the way they collect these movies and package them, and they're just brilliant. They're doing a Cary Grant month, and so I've been watching Cary Grant movies. And yesterday I saw Holiday for the first time.
Oh, I've never seen that one.
It's so great.
Okay,
he's
putting it down.
Funny as shit. He is so sexy, and he's funnier than Jim Carrey.
Well, yeah.
They just don't make him like him anymore. He's just incredible, and he does these tumbles. And he was in an acrobatic group before he became an actor. So he does like these somersaults and backflips all over the place.
Oh my gosh.
Katharine Hepburn is beautiful. The outfits are incredible. I super, super loved it. And then, of course, Christmas wouldn't be Christmas if I didn't see Black Christmas, which I haven't seen in a while.
I haven't watched it yet.
It's really good. It's a horror movie.
Yeah.
Taking place at Christmas time, so it's not like about the baby Jesus or anything, but it's got Margo Kidder, it's got Olivia Hussey, it's got John Saxon, and it's really it's got Andrea from the comedian
Andrea Martin.
Yes.
Oh,
Andrea Martin. With like a full-on perm and big glasses. Like this is early Andrea Martin.
Okay.
And they filmed it in Canada. So they have like a lot of Canadian actors. And it's super funny sometimes. And it's the same guy that directed A Christmas Story and Porky's.
Isn't that crazy to you? Like
crazy. But there's no blood or anything. It's just more like high intensity to it, like Psycho. And it ends on like a weird note. You're not really sure what's going on. I super loved it.
Okay.
I really super loved it. I totally recommend those. So those are from the Criterion channel. I think they're great.
All right. Black Christmas is on my list, so maybe I can watch it before the end of the year because I do really, really want to see it.
Yeah, you should see it with your husband.
Yeah. Did you do you watch the remake at all? There's a remake too that people seem pretty divided on it, but I'm pretty curious about it. So maybe I'll watch the original and then
I might check it out.
Yeah. I'm sure it's streaming on like Shudder or something like that. If you
Yeah.
have Shudder. It's funny that you're doing an old movie because I'm also doing an old movie. I watched on Turner Classic Movies Remember the Night, which is from 1940, and it stars Fred MacMurray and Barbara Stanwyck. I love her.
Yeah.
I love Barbara Stanwyck. And it's the movie they did before Double Indemnity. So, and it's very strange movie. Like, once again, it's like funny and sad at the same time. And it's filled with shit that you're like, that would never happen. Like, she steals a bracelet from a jewelry store, gets caught, and he's the DA that is trying her case. And it's like right before Christmas. So they decide they're going to revisit the case in the new year, and she goes to jail, and he feels bad that she's going to spend the holidays in jail. So even though he's the DA, he like bails her out. And then he takes her to dinner. And then he's like, I'm driving to Pennsylvania to see my family. And she's like, my mom lives in Pennsylvania. So he like gives her a ride to Pennsylvania. None of these things would happen. He's the DA and she's a criminal that he's going to be prosecuting in the new year. And of course, like, they have adventures on the road and they fall in love, and they spend Christmas together, like at his family's place. But there's also this like dread hanging over it because they are going to go back to court, and how the case is going to play out, I'm not going to spoil, but I still really enjoyed it. Like, I really like Fred MacMurray in it. I thought he was really good. He's not always playing such an asshole like he is in The Apartment. And I just love Barbara Stanwyck. She's the fucking shit.
She is the shit.
Like, I also watched Christmas in Connecticut on Turner Classic Movies, and that's like a comedy with her where she's playing like a Martha Stewart type, but she's pretending to be married and like have a farm and all this stuff, and she doesn't have and cook. Like, she knows how to cook and all that, but she doesn't. She's just pretending, and then she has to like pretend that she can do those things, and she's really hilarious in it. So that's
way to see that.
Yeah, that one's also on Turner Classic, and it's I'm trying to think if there's anyone else. Oh, Sydney Greenstreet is in it too, and from like Casablanca and Maltese Falcon, and I always get excited when I see Sydney Greenstreet is in something because he's great.
Lou Ayres is in Holiday. He plays the brother of Katharine Hepburn. I get excited when I see him because he played the teacher in Salem's Lot. Like, it's one of the first movies to scare the crap out of me as a kid.
I haven't seen that movie since I was a kid, but it scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
It kind of holds up. Some of it still holds up. But to see like somebody like that, and to see him as a young man,
yeah,
it's really crazy. But he's really, really good in it.
I love that you're watching a bunch of old movies. There's another one on Turner or on Criterion that you would like. It's called like Bell, Book, and Candle with Jimmy Stewart and Kim Novak. You should.
Ooh.
I would recommend that. We watched it and I loved it. And there's a cat that's a main player. Just saying.
Oh, okay. I'm in.
Yeah, I think you would like it. I have to say, watching old movies, nothing gets me more excited than when you're watching the opening credits and it says "Gowns by," and I was like, "Gowns!" Like every time we watch an old movie and it says "Gowns by," I'm like, "Ooh, gowns by!"
There's gowns in this movie.
I can't wait. Such a dork. This was so fun. I'm so glad that you were like, no, we're doing The Apartment. Don't be an asshole.
I said it much nicer than that.
You did. She did. She would never talk to me like that.
No, never. But I just think it was worth its own conversation. And if you've never seen The Apartment, please do yourselves a favor and see it. It's so wonderful.
It is.
I've watched it twice.
Yeah, it's streaming everywhere. So you could rent it, but you're going to fall in love with it. So you should just buy it. Just buy it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll thank me. It's a Christmas present to yourself, a holiday present to yourself.
There you go.
So this is our show that will come out. Well, it'll be a new year next time we record.
Yeah, with Adam.
Yeah, Adam's going to be on. We're going to talk about flatliners. It's like
from the sublime to the ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know why we decided that's how we're kicking off the new year, but that's how we're kicking off the new year. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be hilarious. Margo, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on social media at Brooklyn Fit Chick. That's for Twitter and Instagram. And my blog is brooklynfitchick.com.
And if you like the sound of our voices, we also co-host What a Creep. We're having so much fun over there, where we talk about a creep and then we end the episode with someone who's not a creep, so you don't feel like the world is a dumpster fire. And you can find me at thesoniashow.com and The Sonia Show on Twitter and Instagram, and Dorking Out at dorkingoutshow.com and Dorking Out Show on Twitter. You could find us on Facebook, but we're not very active there. And if you want some stickers, you can email us at dorkingoutShow@gmail.com, and we're going to get some new stickers with our new logo. In fact, I'm going to write that down right now, stickers, because I haven't placed the order yet, but that's a thing that's going to happen, I promise. So this was so good. I'm so glad we did this. And everybody, I know 2020 fucking sucked ass, but 2021 is got to be better, fingers crossed. So everybody have a safe, wonderful New Year's Eve. Wear your masks. Be socially distant. Wash your hands. Be good. See you next year.